They say that darkness in Thailand holds secrets deeper than the ocean trenches. Not the tourist darkness of crowded bars, but the heavy, oppressive silence of the rural periphery. Here, time bends, and reality fractures. Our journey tonight leads us to one such fissure, a place whispered about only in hushed tones, known as Talat Tiang Kuen, the Midnight Market. It is a structure of pure terror, an economic anomaly that defies physics, appearing for precisely 60 minutes, trading in things that should never be exchanged. It is not built, it is manifested. And woe to the traveler who finds themselves standing within its impossible geometry when the clock strikes 1. This is not folklore. This is a living, breathing shadow, waiting for the unwary. The legends stretch back centuries, rooted in forgotten wars and restless spirits who still hunger for the commerce of the living. Local villagers will refuse to speak of it, often closing doors and windows the moment the topic is even introduced. If forced, they only offer cryptic warnings. Never look up, never speak your name, and never, under any circumstances, allow yourself to accept change. These markets are spiritual conduits, places where the veil between the living and the spectral is porous, designed not for profit, but for balance, a horrifying accounting of debts owed to the unseen. We must now approach the rumored coordinates, moving with the silence of ghosts ourselves, knowing the mere act of seeking this place invites profound danger. The air thickens hours before midnight. It's a sensory shift. The typical jungle cacophony of insects and frogs dissolves into an unnatural, heavy quiet. It feels less like nature quieting down and more like the sound itself is being absorbed, pressed out of existence by an invisible weight. We are positioned near a dry riverbed, the supposed site. The humidity is crushing, yet the shadows feel cold, chilling the skin despite the temperature. Our cameras are set, their lenses waiting to capture the impossible. Every minute ticks louder than the last. The anticipation here is a physical thing, a coil tightening in the chest, demanding release. This is the moment before the curtain rises on true, chaotic horror, where the laws we understand cease to apply. 12 o'clock, the exact stroke of midnight. There is no fanfare, no structural erection. Instead, the market simply is. In the space of a single breath, the empty field is replaced by dozens of low-slung stalls, lit by lanterns that cast far too little light and too many shadows. The atmosphere is immediately suffocating. The air now carries the sense of ancient spice, stale incense, and something metallic, like dried blood. It's a fully formed ecosystem of dread. The silence persists, broken only by the muted, unsettling scraping sound of feet on dry earth, a sound that suggests movement without vitality. This is the entrance to Talat Tiang Kuen, and we have crossed the threshold into its terrifying domain. From this moment on, every step is a gamble. The goods offered here are utterly alien. They are not crafted, they appear scavenged from lost timelines. Dried roots that resemble human fingers, polished stones that seem to pulse with inner light, ancient porcelain shards depicting impossible beasts. The food stalls are the most disturbing. Meat that appears unnaturally pale, simmering in broth that emits no steam, tended by vendors whose eyes never leave the contents of the pot. These items are intrinsically linked to spiritual currency. They represent deals made in prior lives, curses solidified, or perhaps tools for rituals yet to come. To touch anything here is to bind oneself to its history, and that history is universally tainted by suffering and eternal regret. Every object possesses a malevolent weight. The inhabitants, the customers, and the vendors are perhaps the most terrifying element. They are numerous, moving through the aisles with a shared glacial speed. They do not chatter, there is no bargaining. Transactions occur in profound silence, often through a simple gesture or nod. Their clothing is aged, reminiscent of styles decades or even centuries past, worn and colorless. You sense immediately that these are not living people making a late-night purchase. These are shadows fulfilling obligations, trapped in a relentless, repetitive cycle of exchange. If you meet their gaze, there is no recognition, only an infinite emptiness, the cold clarity of those who have forgotten what it means to hope or fear. They are part of the scenery, the permanent architecture of this ethereal dread. We witness a transaction near the center of the market, a moment that clarifies the profound terror of Talat Tiangkun. A young man, pale and shaking, approaches a vendor selling carved wooden masks. He reaches into his pocket, but withdraws only a fistful of dried flowers, faded and pressed. The vendor looks at the flowers, then at the man's face, and slowly reaches out, taking the flowers and simultaneously touching the man's temple. There is no sound, but the man collapses slightly, his eyes losing a fraction of their luster. He did not pay with currency, he paid with memory. The vendor gave him a small, plain wooden doll, and the cost was clearly visible, a piece of his soul, a moment of his past happiness, surrendered to the market's hunger. The exchange is utterly seamless, utterly terrifying. As we move deeper, the shadows lengthen, seeming to twist and hold the meager lantern light captive. We pass a stall selling jars filled with darkness, literally, dense black liquid that absorbs all light. Our narrator is suddenly met by a vendor, an ancient woman, whose teeth are stained red, whose smile is too wide. She holds out a single coin, not gold, not silver, but bone, polished smooth by time. She does not ask us to buy, she asks us to take. The compulsion is immense, a gravitational pull toward this single, terrifying relic. If we accept this coin, we accept the debt it represents, finding us not only to the market, but to the entity that oversees it. We must resist the urge, the spectral pressure pushing us to claim what is not ours. The time constraint is the market's defining rule. The power that summons it is also the power that dissolves it, and that power is absolute. The minute hand creeps toward 1 a.m., the atmosphere shifts from quiet dread to frantic, silent desperation. The spectral patrons begin moving faster, bumping into stalls, their previously measured steps replaced by a kind of panicked scuttle. The shadows grow restless, dancing wildly despite the lack of breeze. This is the moment of reckoning. Anyone caught here when the bell tolls will not just be trapped. They will become a permanent fixture, an eternal patron, one more empty face shuffling through the invisible aisles for the rest of time. Our objective shifts instantly from observation to frantic, silent extraction. We must move now. The air crackles with invisible energy, and the flickering lantern light begins to strobe, rapidly cycling between full glow and complete darkness. The scraping sounds intensify, turning into a dreadful, unified murmur of desperate movement. We push past several figures, deliberately avoiding their eyes, knowing that even a shared glance could mean immediate psychological capture. The sense of spice and incense now morph into the sharp, coppery smell of ozone and decay. The market is not closing its doors, it is retracting into the dimension from whence it came, and the process is violent and disorienting. The periphery of the field is already blurring, the ground turning into unstable mist. We must reach the boundary before the ground beneath us forgets how to be solid. 1 o'clock. The sound hits first, a deep, resonant toll that seems to originate not from a bell, but from the earth itself. Then, silence. The absolute, deafening silence of a vacuum. We glance back just once. Where the hundreds of stalls stood moments ago, there is only the empty, dry riverbed, covered in dust, bathed once again in the sickly yellow glow of the distant street lamp. Nothing remains. No debris, no footprints, not even the lingering scent of smoke. It is a terrifying, perfect disappearance. The market is gone, but the cold dread adheres to us like a second skin. We escaped the physical trap, but the market always takes a piece of those who attend. A quiet memory stolen, a subtle joy extinguished. The true cost of our visit will reveal itself slowly, over the coming days, in the absences we cannot explain.
The night market is not a place you visit. It is a nightmare you survive. It remains hidden, waiting for the curious, the desperate, or the simply unfortunate soul who happens to cross its materialized path at the stroke of midnight. Remember the rules. Never bargain, never give your name, and absolutely never accept change, for what they offer is far more valuable to them than any worldly currency. If you seek the hidden horrors of this world, understand that sometimes the curtain is drawn back for a reason, and what lies beyond demands a price you cannot afford to pay. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and never stop watching the shadows.